7 essential keys for you to manifest your goals successfully. But I would go even one step further and say not only to manifest your goals, I would say to master your life consciously for the rest of your life. Because it is one thing for you to just look into manifestation, manifest 1 or 2 goals, and then going back to old patterns and again being like a pawn on a chessboard in this game of life. Or if you see this as a high stakes game and improve yourself in an ongoing way and you master these principles ongoingly for the rest of your life. So with that, let's just dive right in. The first thing that you need to know, the first key is self-awareness. Self-awareness of your current state and consciously assuming your desired state. And that is where most people already get lost, right? That is what most people already don't connect with, is they only are engaged in the tools and the techniques and affirmations and mind tapes and subliminals and the next shiny object, right? But they miss the foundation. They miss the foundation to life. They miss the foundation to manifesting, which is consciousness, self-awareness, right? Knowing your true self, knowing that there is more to you than a bundle and a cluster of thoughts, identifications, beliefs, stories, emotions, sensations. There is more behind you, and you can tap into that by sinking the mind in the ocean of awareness, by simply becoming more centered, more conscious, living more in the moment. That is a good practice. That is a good start for most people. That is the first foundation, right? Because that will help you then, again, to be aware of what do you actually have alive inside of yourself, right? What do you dwell on? What are your habitual states? What are you identified with? Because that is essentially what you see in your world if you look without. And part of that is also to assume your desired state. So when you know, okay, this is where I stand with him, that's still not enough, right? Because you can get more self-awareness, but that still won't really change a lot when it comes to getting new life circumstances. That will change very much when it comes to being more present, being more stable. But you also need to know, how do you assume a new state? How do you select and occupy a new reality that you make manifest for yourself? Okay, that's the first key. I'm going to go all over them step by step, and then we do a little recap of all of these points. The second key is this: do not take your cue from your current circumstances and pollute your internal state. Right? Do not look at what currently is appearing in your bank account, in your relationship situation right now, in your health situation right now, in your whatever life circumstance it is, and think, because that is how it is right now, okay, that's just how it is, and feel how you feel because of the circumstances, right? If you do that, you look in the circumstances, then you feel a certain way, please realize that this will put you in a perpetual loop. This will put you in a very vicious cycle, because you're taking your cue from what is, you reinfect your internal world, right? You reinfect your state, you look at the bank account, you're like, I don't have a lot of money. I feels like, I'm financially just not stable. You see that. You again bring to your awareness that feeling, that state, that assumption that you are not this, you don't have that. You focus again on lack in most cases. And so therefore you get more of that essentially, right? So don't let your internal world get polluted. We want to learn, and I know that this is not super easy, especially in the beginning. And also in the longer you go, you can have some setbacks, but we want to learn that, right? It's a muscle that we can train. As we can train our body muscles, we can also train the muscle of looking at what is without taking our cue from that, right? With seeing that, okay, yes, acknowledging that, but still internally feeling how we want to feel without needing a external proof of that. That will make you invincible if you can practice that. Next one is realize that your circumstances are a reverberant mirror of your internal state, that they are an echoing, a delayed mirror. If the word reverberant is a little bit too difficult, then simply see that your circumstances are a mirror. And most times not even an instant mirror, but more like a delayed mirror. So if you assume that, it can take a while, it can take a bridge of unfolding so that you see also externally what you first assumed within you. But you need to realize that your life outpictures your state of consciousness, your identity, and shows you that and reflects that back to you. And that is good news. That is good news. I know we have the tendency to get lost in the physical circumstances sometimes and react to them and all of that. Again, like I said, this will maybe also happen as you go longer in this journey, but you will become definitely better at this, or at some point when an undesirable circumstance might happen. So maybe you catch an illness, maybe something in your relationship, in your money, in your business, something happens that you don't like, then instead of, spending 2 weeks of reacting to that and trying to find a solution and being super limited in a sense, you realize, okay, that is right now what the mirror of life shows me. But since you remember that it is not final, since you remember that it's only a mirror, you can right now, right here, in your internal world, realign yourself, feel how you want to feel, imagine in the here and now something that implies it is done, and therefore you have not let your internal state got polluted by the circumstances, right? You acknowledge them. You don't have to cover your eyes and hide them. They're there. As long as you have this life experience, you will forever have circumstances, but you can mold them, you can shape them, and your internal state determines how you react to the current circumstances. So your life is a echoing mirror, and if you know that, then things become very easy, because then you also understand that you don't have to change and force and fight the mirror, the outside, circumstances. No, you realign yourself within. You start to adopt a new attitude. You start to adopt a new identity. You start to adopt and occupy a new state, and that will then lead to new thoughts, new impulses, new actions, new people entering your life. But that's very important. Also, don't wait or wonder for manifestations to confirm your internal state. That is a big thing I see people do over and over again, is that they still wait, right? So they start to do some techniques, and they're like, oh, it's still not here yet, let me do more. It's still not here yet, let me do more. It's still not here yet, let me do more. They're constantly waiting. They constantly try to monitor the bridge unfolding. That's not your job when it comes to consciously manifesting. It's not your job in a sense, not what you should focus on. Right? Also, if you wonder, like, when is it, when will it come, all of that, because waiting, wondering, hoping, in a sense, all of that puts you still in an awareness, in a state of it's not here yet. So what do you think does that indicate to the mirror? It indicates to the mirror that you don't have it yet, that you are not it yet. But what can the mirror only confirm? Something that already is. When you go in the bathroom, you look in the mirror can only show you exactly the facial expression that you make. You can't look neutral and expect the mirror to show you a different face, to smile at you. Right? You have to smile, then the mirror smiles as well. Same with the mirror of life, same with this game of life. So don't wait. Waiting puts you in a state of lack, in a state of not being it, not having it. You're wondering, and therefore you're not in a state of the wish fulfilled at the same time. Practice to feel amazing, joyful, confident, abundant without needing a reason. Those attributes, or those kind of like states, those umbrella overarching states, they should be normal for you. You should not only allow yourself to feel amazing and blissful and joyful and confident and stable and wonderful and like the best person on this world and all of that when there's a circumstance that allows you that. No, practice to feel that on a daily basis, right? It's because with that, you also practice this muscle of feeling into something, although there is no physical evidence of that yet. But if you feel those things, your life will give you a reason to feel again amazing, again joyful, again confident, again abundant. Because if you now assume that, then something needs to happen so that you again see that, right? But this is definitely what I want you to do, is as soon as you wake up, when you go to bed, don't do this unconsciously. Don't do this in just any random unconscious mood, right? Don't let the unconscious part of you draw on the canvas of life. No, you draw more ongoingly, right? I'm not saying again that tomorrow you will be an expert. I myself, I'm still, this is an ongoing journey, like I said. But you need to decide, do you want to play the game of life that way? Or do you lay back and think, okay, whatever happens, happens. I have no control. Whatever life throws at me happens. Don't get me wrong. This is also a paradigm that you can live by. The question is only, how long will that serve you? Because if you're really triggered by something, if you really have a burning desire and you just say, oh, if it's not meant to be, it's not meant to be, and all of that stuff, then you stay in this desire, you stay in this uncomfortable internal world kind of like state, which if you would apply those things and assume the state of the wish fulfilled and apply Neville's teachings, you can see that you can reshuffle the circumstances. But back to this point, right? Practice to feel amazing, joyful, confident, abundant. Feel those things. Make that alive within you, even though there is no circumstance currently that allows you to now feel that way. See only your preference. Imagine what excites you the most in this moment. What do you want right now? That is always the ongoing question, right? What do you want from me? I think that was like a statement even in scripture. And who was speaking there was your awareness, your consciousness, the Father within, right? Your true self, the universe within you, okay, if we speak in those terms. But the question is, what do you want right now? What excites you the most? You can practice to assume those feelings. So if you are home alone and you would like to be out with friends, but no one has called you yet, for example, then imagine what would it be like to now have an amazing evening, although it is not physically there. See and feel your preference. Again, this is one of the strongest muscles next to all your biceps, your triceps, and all physical body muscles that you have. This is the inner muscle of assuming a new state, of feeling into something that is unseen and not manifested yet, right? So practice that. See only your preference, right? When you walk, see that people see you as being the most confident person you know. See that people see you as the most successful person, whatever you want to be, right? Whatever states are relevant to you specifically, see that. Although there is no physical reason yet. So basically overwhelm your physicalized circumstances right now with your preference. Again, it's a muscle. In the beginning, you feel delusional. In the beginning, you feel like, oh no, what am I doing here? Because your mind is not used to it. You can train it a little bit. And then you see that it actually works. That you can see your preference. Someone says no. You imagine, you hear internally that they say yes. 5 minutes later, they call you and they say, oh, no, you what? We can actually do that. That happened to me so many times. This was just one example to portray the power of that. See your preference, right? What would you see if that would only be your preference? It's a muscle, train it. And last but not least, and this is probably the most important, the way you are living your life should be your number one passion. This is your life. The only one that's with you is the one you believe yourself to be, right? You. Okay, you are still more than your ego and this vessel through which you live. But again, the only person basically, right, that's with you all the time is you. So first of all, you should do the inner work, right? Not in an egoistical way and leaving others behind and stuff like that, but I mean, focus on you, right? The way you live your life, that should be your number one passion. And with the way you live your life, I don't mean only like what your lifestyle is. I mean, of course, also those external things, yes, right? Your lifestyle, what you do, doing your passions, doing what excites you, doing what makes you feel good and what brings you to the next level in life. That's all amazing. Definitely do that as well, of course. Live your life the way you want to live it. But as well, also, I mean, the way that you carry yourself vibrationally, the way you carry yourself state-wise, right? How you shift realities, how you shift states, that should be your priority, right? What you assume, that you're conscious, that you're confident, you're peaceful, that you're happy, right? That should be your main priority instead of just chasing shiny objects all the time. All right. So these are the 7 essential keys. A quick recap, because it was already very detailed, but a quick recap, and then you can screenshot that, you can put this on your phone, you can come back to this video, because I think with that, this is for me, like in a summarized way, a lot of very important things. And just quickly, if you want to internalize them, if you want to learn more about every of those steps, self-awareness, defining your goals, shifting into them, understanding Neville's teachings, the law of assumption, everything that we teach on the channel here, then you can apply for my program, because this is where I show this to people, right? This is where people work with me. This is where I have a private community, very engaging, very active, very helpful. This is where I have my coaching. This is where I have everything, right, in my program. So if you want to work there with me, then you can apply. Second link in the video description, pinned comments, so that we can see if we're a good fit. And then if yes, we can dive into the program. So now let's go over a quick recap before I conclude this video. Key number 1, self-awareness, right? Being centered. I am. This is what Neville meant when he said I am. What is I am? Right? What do you refer to when you say I am? What deserves the name I am? Is it your name? Is it your body? Is it your thoughts? Is it your emotions? When you really investigate into that, then you see that either all of these things are changeable, coming and going, and not essentially you, because the real you is awareness, consciousness, which in maybe some of you in some meditations have realized that you can detach from thoughts. You can let them, you can observe them. So if you can observe them, how can you be it? If you can observe it, how can you be a thought? Right? We sometimes lose ourselves in the thought and believe their story and believe what the thought tells us. And that is why people suffer, because they believe everything that is appearing. They've not learned self-awareness. That's key number one, right? Consciously assuming desired states, learning the art of state shifting or reality shifting, right? Learning the art of conscious manifesting, very important. Also, not taking the cue from the current circumstances, from what right now is, because that's, in a sense, the past. You look in the past, what you see is already what the mirror is showing you right now, so it's no longer really right now relevant. If you right now assume a new state, shift into something new, over time the mirror will also catch up and show you something new in your life. Third, realize that your circumstances are a mirror, like I just said. Don't wait or wonder for manifestations, right? Basically, we want to plant seeds and move forward. We don't want to plant seeds and then look at, is it growing? No, we want to plant seeds, achieve the feeling of naturalness, of certainty, of self-preservation, of knowingness, that we are it, that it is ours, that this will happen in a sense. But then we don't always want to look, because looking, waiting, wondering, being unsure is still an indication that you're not fully living in the wish fulfilled. And again, your life, the mirror, the manifestation is the consequence of the wish fulfilled, of the inner shift that has taken place. Practice to feel amazing, blissful, joyful, confident, like all these super empowering feeling states. Produce them in your world in your inner world right now, without going through life and be like, oh, I can't feel this because nothing around me is happening that allows me to feel that way. So bring those feelings up no matter what. It's a nice muscle to train. Same as the muscle of like only seeing your preference, only feel your preference. Imagine what excites you the most in this moment. You have a desire coming up. What would imply it is done? Imagine that it is done. Imagine that you are it. That will produce the feeling state of already having achieved it. You go through your life. Something else comes up. Imagine that is being done. So move forward, right? Don't stop. Don't stay stuck and be like, okay, now I manifested it and yeah, that's it. No, it's like there is no end to the life's journey in a sense, right? So always keep going, keep evolving. There will be periods where you will have more empowered phases. There will be periods where you are feeling like, a little bit more dense, a little bit more, down to earth in a sense. And that's also normal. Life is like a wave-like, thing. Sometimes you're really into something and then, it goes a little bit back. And then back you're excited and high and then it goes lower again. I call that peaks and valleys, also covered in my program. And last but not least, this is your life, your inner world. Because again, that is what you carry with you basically all the time. That is what I meant when I talked about this point, right? Your inner world, that is what you carry with you all the time. No matter if you're right now at home, if you go to work, if you travel somewhere, no matter where in this universe you are, you always carry your inner world with you. So shouldn't that be a nice place? Shouldn't that be a calm place? Shouldn't that be a place that you have control over? In my opinion, yes. So therefore, the way you live, the way you carry your inner world, and of course also the way you express yourself without, right? What you do, how you live your life, that should be your number one priority. If you want to incorporate all of that again, I have the two main resources, the free masterclass and my program, where we go over all of those things in more detail. And with that, I conclude this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know in the comments down below if that was helpful. I speak to you in the next one. Bye, guys.